You're welcome to the news on NTA International. I'm Lami Ali. Courage Ogeria, he is the sign language interpreter. We begin with the headlines. Georgia's pro-West President Salome Zurabishvili denounces the recent election results, accuses Russia of meddling in the process. Spain and India seek to boost investments as the Prime Minister visits one of the world's fifth largest economies. And Chief Justice of Nigeria urges judicial officers to reject actions that could tarnish the image of the judiciary or impose the fair administration of justice. Vice President Kashim Shettima is to brief President Bola Tinubu on matters of state during the two-week vacation of the Nigerian leader abroad. The Vice President met his boss this Monday. Vice President Shettima returned to the country Saturday morning from his aborted trip to the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa, where he was supposed to represent his principal. He was also in Sweden while the president was away on break. Spain seeks to boost investment in India, one of the world's fifth largest economies. Given this, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez is on a two-day visit to India. Uche Ugochukwu reports that his first activity was the inauguration of a military aircraft factory in Vadodara in Gujarat State.
Visit of the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez is the first visit by a Spanish premier to India in 18 years. India's Defense Ministry agreed to a $2.5 billion deal for 56 cargo and troop-carrying C-295 aircraft from Airbus Defence and Space in 2021, 16 of which was to be assembled in Spain, with the deliveries made last year, while the 40 remaining was to be built in India. The Indian plant in Vadodara will complete the first made-in-India C-295 aircraft in 2026. At the inauguration, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the factory will not only strengthen India-Spain relations, but also the Make in India and Made for the World mission. Also reinforces India's position as a trusted partner in global aerospace manufacturing.
This project strengthens our industrial ties while underlying our country's deep commitment as a reliable and strategic partner. And it shows as well the capabilities of the Spanish defense industry, with its world-class expertise and its well-earned international reputation.
Spain, being the 16th biggest foreign investor in India with more than 280 Spanish companies in the country, sees opportunities in construction, pharmacy, energy, as well as in the railways industry. Modi visited Spain in 2017 and held talks with Sanchez at the G20 summit in 2018 and 2021. Sanchez, who visited China last month, is looking to consolidate relations in Asia and with both Beijing and New Delhi. The Spanish leader is slated to visit India's financial capital, Mumbai, on Tuesday, where he will hold talks with business chiefs, as well as a visit to a Bollywood film studio in a bid to seek tie with Spanish firms. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Georgia's pro-Western President Salome Zurabishvili has accused Russia of election fraud after a disputed legislative vote that showed a win for the ruling party, accused of moving towards Russia's orbit. The Georgian opposition called for a rally on Monday, and the European Union demanded an investigation into irregularities in the election results. Pro-Western President Salome Zurabishvili on Sunday accused Moscow of orchestrating election fraud, calling it a Russian special operation. Jailed former President Mikhail Saakashvili also called for mass protests. The UN's Children's Fund says that more than 17 million school-age children in Sudan are still out of school as hundreds of learning institutions remain closed due to the ongoing conflict. Those who still have access to learning live in constant fear of attacks. Here is the report.
Many children in Sudan have been forced out of their classrooms. Going to school and getting an education is now a dream out of reach for millions. But for those who live in places less affected by the fighting, like this part of the capital, Khartoum, the possibility of violent attacks on school worries them.
We face a lot of difficulties: stray bullets, looting, beatings and theft. Since the war began, we have been sitting in our house and not going out. We cannot study or read. We have no way of going outside the house. All we can do is eat and sleep.
The conflict, which began in mid-April last year, has almost grounded the country's education system. The UN has repeatedly warned Sudan is on the verge of having the worst education crisis in the world. Students fear they'll miss the national end-of-year exams, and with internet coverage hampered, remote learning is not an option.
The lack of communication network has had a great impact on us. We cannot communicate with our families and they cannot check on us. I just want to thank our teachers who have put in efforts to continue teaching us.
Dozens of schools are being used as shelters, and learners have to share space with the displaced. Teachers too are facing difficulties. They haven't received salaries for months. But in the midst of fighting, some have chosen to tirelessly teach in challenging conditions, including overcrowded classrooms.
We hope that the war will stop and that peace will prevail in the country. We have suffered a lot, but we are determined to continue the educational process, and we have opened a few schools. People are very tired, and there was a time they could not allow their children to go out of the house because of the intense clashes. But people got past that stage and got used to it and insisted on continuing the educational process.
The conflict between the army and the RSF has affected 12 of the 18 states in the country, and with the fighting still raging on, the future of an entire generation is now threatened.
As anticipation builds for the Nigeria-Morocco Business Week, industry leaders, policymakers and investors from both nations gear up to explore new frontiers of economic cooperation. Musa Abubakar reports.
Nigeria and Morocco trade relations shows a mixed trend, with Nigeria's export to Morocco growing at an annual rate of 3.67% over 5 years, while Morocco's export to Nigeria is set to decline at the rate of 1.88% over the same period.
But this is about to change with Nigeria and Morocco Business Week in sight, as both countries are exploring opportunities beyond energy, including renewable energy development, agriculture, and training programs.
Mainly, we want to foster closer economic ties between the two countries that have so long-standing historical ties. We want to translate those ties into more concrete economic ties. And the Business Week actually is to involve a number of Nigerian companies and government departments and ministries who have already arrived here in Casablanca.
With a focus on key sectors like agriculture, manufacturing and energy, the Investment Summit fosters collaboration, unlocking opportunities that benefit both countries.
Ahmed, who is now the Minister of Regional Development, is here. He's actually effectively the leader of the Nigerian delegation. He is meeting with the Association of Steel Producers, Steel Development in Morocco to discuss areas of cooperation.
The forum encourages sustainable partnerships to drive regional prosperity. From Casablanca in Morocco, Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has directed the security agencies to provide immediate adequate security cover for personnel of the Transmission Company of Nigeria to restore power supply to the northern states currently experiencing power outages. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu disclosed this after briefing President Bola Tinubu on the power supply situation in the north. 17 states of the north are currently in blackout due to the vandalism of the Shiroro-Kaduna transmission line, a major line supplying power to the northern parts of the country.
You are sure of your safety in the area. Why it has escalated to this level is because we've not been able to guarantee security of lives of those that will work there. But Mr. President has assured me that he has also instructed the NSA, the Chief of Defense Staff, Chief of Army Staff, and Chief of Air Staff to provide the required security for the people that will fix the demolished line.
The minister also speaks on reasons for the incessant collapse of the national grid in parts of the country.
You mentioned, you said 3 times, the grid actually was disturbed one time, and we deliberately shut it down the second time because of the explosion of the transformer at the Jeba plant. Before this, the last disturbance on the grid was about 4 months ago, which meant that we have been managing the grid. Let me tell you, the truth of the matter is we have old infrastructure. We have a national grid that is more than 50 years old. We have a national grid whose transmission lines are weak. The towers are falling. And the substations, the transformers are old. In fact, the transformer that actually exploded in Jeba was 47 years old. We've been trying to revamp this, to change them, but they cannot all be changed overnight. So it's like you're having a rickety car. You'll be expecting breakdown once in a while. What we continue to do is continue to manage the grid to prevent frequent occurrence of the grid disturbance until we're able to completely overhaul the grid itself. Then we'll have reliable grid. Secondly, we are working on establishing what is called a super grid, which is a backup or failover optional grid. If the national grid has a problem, there will be an alternative route through which power can be transmitted.
Now, still on the power situation, the Northern Governors Forum, in collaboration with traditional rulers, have resolved to work closely with the federal government to end the ongoing power outages in the north. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports that the chairman of the forum, Muhammad Inuwa Yahaya, during the meeting in Kaduna, says the governors will also take advantage of the compressed natural gas (CNG) initiatives as well as the livestock development projects to drive economic growth and improve the well-being of their people.
The northern governors and the custodians of the cultural heritage of the region, one by one, arriving for another meeting to address the challenges facing the north. It began with the host governor, Ubasani, and the Northern Governors Forum Chairman Muhammad Inuwa Yahaya setting the tone for the discussions.
We must work with the federal government to ensure that fiscal policies are sensitive to the realities of the day. As we speak today, most of our northern states are in darkness due to vandalization of electricity transmission infrastructure. This not only underscores the vulnerability of critical infrastructure, but also the need to build additional transmission lines.
Let me use this opportunity to commend our dear President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for reinvigorating the war against terrorists, bandits, the establishment of a joint military command and launching of Operation Fansanyama are clear demonstrations of the federal government's commitment to decisively tackle the multidimensional challenges of insecurity confronting the North.
Then the Sultan of Sokoto and the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa shared their experiences, emphasizing the need to strengthen cooperation among the northern leaders as well as all stakeholders involved to effectively address the issues.
One point I didn't hear was the establishment of the Almajiri and out-of-school children commissioned by the federal government, which we 100% supported, and the leader of that team had already been with us and we've discussed. I think we must include it in what we are going to discuss because the issue of out-of-school children and Almajiri is a very sore problem to all of us.
For us, cooperation is very, very key and very critical to our success. By working hand in hand, we can overcome the challenges before us and pave the way for a better northern Nigeria. It was in this vein that the Armed Forces of Nigeria recently rejigged its operation in the Northwest with the launch of operationalization of Joint Task Force Operation Fansanyama.
It is expected that at the end of their deliberations, the leaders will come up with an alternative ways of solving the problems. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umarajinki, NTA News.
This is news at 7 on NTA International. More stories to come after the break. Do stay tuned.
We all get that party where they get your back anytime or day. E go carry a matter for head like say na your own. Now so GoTV tanda for your side as your party for correct enjoyment. We not a tear pocket. For this GoTV Super Plus Golden Window, you fit touchlight all the 380 Premier League games, correct local shows, and better film. We day for you. Make your sharply upgrade or recharge your GoTV on top Super Plus to enjoy every today. The Super Plus Golden Window don't come out money now. No do yourself, oh. GoTV. Love it.
Thank you for saying. The founding members of the Women Trafficking and Child Labor Eradication Foundation, Whatclef, are marking 25 years of impactful efforts in the fight against human trafficking and child abuse in Nigeria. Amina Baba Suleiman reports that the celebration attracted dignitaries, including Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar.
Founded in the year 1999, the foundation has achieved a significant milestone since its establishment 25 years ago. It is the effort of the founding fathers that brought about NAPTIP with the passage of its anti-trafficking bill by the National Assembly, which was signed into law by the former President Olusegun Obasanjo in the year 2003.
Her unwavering dedication to combating human trafficking and child labor has changed countless lives. She did not merely witness the suffering of women and children, she took decisive action to lead the charge for change. To felicitate with those who have benefited from saving them from trafficking, human trafficking, saving them from child labor. It was a blot on Nigeria.
Amina Titi Abubakar, the initiator and founder of Whatclef, emphasized the critical need for continued collaboration among stakeholders to tackle the increasing challenges of trafficking confronting Nigeria and beyond.
To me, I did not doubt that all forms of sexual exploitation are incompatible with human dignity. We fight to save animals. We fight to preserve our environment. We fight job trafficking. We fight currency trafficking. Why not fight to safeguard and preserve human dignity?
Human trafficking and child labor. I'm deeply honored and delighted to be speaking to you about the issue that affects all of us, together with our differences in status and background.
Nigerian First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, represented by the wife of the Vice President, Nana Kashin Shettima, delivered a heartfelt message congratulating the founder of Whatclef.
The issues of trafficking and child labor are painful realities of women and children, who are often the most vulnerable to this menace.
They called upon all citizens to join the movement to eradicate trafficking and protect the rights of vulnerable populations. Amina Baba Suleiman, NTA News.
Now, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, has urged judicial officers to reject actions that could tarnish the image of the judiciary or impede the fair administration of justice. The CJN gave the charge in Abuja as the opening of the Batch B induction course for newly appointed judicial officers of the Superior Courts of Record. Chukununso Nwabweze reports.
Converged here at the National Judicial Institute, Abuja, for the Stream 2 of the Institute's 2024 induction course for judicial officers of superior courts in the country are the newly appointed judges of the Federal and State High Courts, National Industrial Court, caddies of the Sharia Courts of Appeal, and judges of the Customary Courts of Appeal.
The judiciary serves as the backbone of democracy.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, while warning judicial officers regarding the indiscriminate granting of ex parte orders, charged the participants to execute their duties with unwavering integrity and dedication in order to reinforce public confidence in the nation's justice system.
Judicial discretion in the issuance of remand orders must be exercised with careful consideration of the particular circumstances of the case. We must remain conscious of our control over our courts and uphold this responsibility with firmness and prudence.
The correlation between judicial efficiency and capacity building is one that cannot be overemphasized. Hence, following this all-important induction course, we look forward to receiving and recording the participation of your lordship at various training programs tailored to build their capacity in various areas of law and to equally enhance their functionality.
With the theme, repositioning the course for better justice delivery, the induction course is specially designed to indoctrinate his lordships in the peculiarities of the higher bench, as well as to familiarize them with the art and craft of justice delivery pertaining to their new roles. Chukunonso Mwabweze, NTA News.
The federal government has expressed satisfaction with responses of some state governments who have announced their new minimum wage following the declaration by the federal government's Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, who was in the State House to discuss state affairs with President Bola Tinubu, was a significant member of the Tripartite Committee on the National Minimum Wage. While reiterating federal government's commitments to the new pay benchmark, the SGF urges the sub-nationals to ensure implementation.
We're very satisfied with it, and some state governments have started implementing. Others have even gone beyond 70. So I believe that there's no problem with that whatsoever. We applaud those who have started. Those who have not started, we just want to appeal to them to start the payments.
The Office of the National Security Advisor has convened a meeting of stakeholders to strengthen the country's ability to protect its digital infrastructure from emerging threats. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that the application of digital technology has heightened the vulnerability of digital assets in the country.
Nigeria's digital infrastructure faces a range of cyber threats and attacks. Aside from threats to private computers and mobile devices, telecommunication and banking networks are also subject of large-scale attacks.
We have strengthened our resolve to effectively confront these threats. This workshop provides the platform for us to jointly develop the roadmap for the implementation of the initiatives spelled out in the executive order.
In 2023, more than 14 billion naira was lost to breaches to digital infrastructure.
These are only figures reported to the NCC. These figures illustrate not only a direct financial burden, but also an extensive impact on our services, economy, and national security.
In addition to bolstering cyber resilience, the forum is focused on strengthening stakeholders' ability to physically protect critical infrastructure.
The armed forces are committed to take the challenge and work with the Office of the National Security Advisor on whatever resolution is being reached and whatever strategies have been developed.
It is Mr. President's strategy, policy, and determination to improve the power sector, because that's what all these things sit on.
When a critical information infrastructure is being cut off, you cannot talk to anybody, you cannot even book your flight, you cannot travel, you cannot do anything. So that is how bad it will be if these things happens. The expectation is to work together, whole of government and whole of society approach. It is all of us here together that can deal with it.
The bulk of efforts is on protecting 13 critical national infrastructure. Just like the popular saying, security is everyone's business. This platform stressed the need for collective responsibility towards the protection of critical government infrastructure and information, and also the adoption of a whole of a society approach. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
To reshape the future of healthcare systems in West Africa, the issues of reliance on external funding, inadequate human resources, political instability, among others, must be addressed. This resonated at the 48th Scientific Conference of the West Africa College of Physicians with the theme, Improving Health Systems in West African Region, Opportunities and Challenges. Uche Ugochukwu reports that the conference hosted by Nigeria was declared open by the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate.
Healthcare systems in West African region continues to face emerging and re-emerging challenges, ranging from inadequate infrastructure and a shortage of skilled professionals to strains posed by infectious diseases. Consequently, physicians from across 13 West African countries are in Nigeria to dialogue on how to harness the potentials in the region to build resilient health systems that would not only respond to crises, but also promote sustainable health for generations to come.
Improving health systems in West Africa involves addressing complex but interrelated factors that affect health outcomes. While significant opportunities exist to strengthen these health systems, there are numerous and considerable challenges that must be addressed.
We need to consider streamlining as well, because there are newer specialties that are emerging, to consider how we build that into our postgraduate medical education, and to foster interdisciplinary research and training, because the challenges that we're facing are complex.
The forum emphasized the need for collective action to address the challenges of healthcare delivery as experts share knowledge, identify solutions, and develop strategies for implementation.
We'll be working hard to tackle the disease by training people and making sure that all the standards, the health standards in the world, the best health standard will be observed in Africa.
The West African College of Physicians' 48th Scientific Conference is a wake-up call to policymakers, healthcare professionals and stakeholders to work together to build stronger, more resilient health systems for the people of West Africa. New fellows and members.
And that report caps the news. Courage Ogeria, he has been the sign language interpreter, and I am Lami Ali. Do have a good evening.